All right, so get this. Today, we're diving into some seriously cool stuff. We're talking super intelligence, and not just like the idea of it, but how soon it might actually, be a reality. Our source material, Texto Pegado, throws out a date that frankly kind of blew my mind. 2027. We're talking a few years here, not decades, before machines could be, well, outsmarted us. So today's deep dive, what we're going to do is unpack all of that. What does AGI, artificial general intelligence, actually even mean? Is this 2027 prediction legit? And what would a world with superintelligence even, look like? To help us break all this down, I've got our expert with us. And let's be honest, even the term AI feels like it's changing, what, like every day now?
It absolutely is. The pace of advancement it's really staggering. A few years ago, superintelligence, it was, stuff of science fiction. But today, it's a field of serious research.
Right. And I mean, look at ChatGPT. It feels like everyone and their grandma is using it now. But where does something like that fit into the bigger picture of AGI?
So ChatGPT, it's impressive, right? But it's like a highly specialized tool. It excels at very specific tasks that's programmed for. But AGI aims for something much grander. It aims for generalized intelligence. It's about, think of it like the ability to learn and solve problems across any domain, just like humans can.
Okay, so ChatGPT, it's great at like writing you a poem, but it couldn't design a scientific experiment. And then go on to manage a company's logistics, and then try to debate philosophy, all things that we humans, however imperfectly, can at least attempt.
Exactly. AGI, it aims to replicate that flexibility, that adaptability,
Yeah.
going way beyond, just task-specific programming. It's about creating an AI that can learn, that can evolve in ways that mirror human cognition.
Which brings us back to Ben Goertzel and this 2027 prediction. It's pretty ambitious, to say the least.
It is, but Goertzel, he's a leading figure in AGI research, and his prediction, it's not based on just whimsy or anything. It stems from some very concrete advancements that are happening in the field right now.
Okay, so walk us through it. What needs to happen between now and 2027 to make this prediction a reality?
So Texto Pagado highlights two key factors: advancements in what they call symbolic neural networks, and then the rise of these decentralized supercomputer networks.
Okay, so those sound like topics for like a whole other deep dive. But let's start with these symbolic neural networks. What are they, and how are they different from what's powering, like the AI that we're interacting with today?
Okay, so imagine if you could combine the raw data processing power of today's AI, right? All that data crunching capability, but combine it with the symbolic reasoning that humans excel at. That's essentially the goal of symbolic neural networks.
So it's like, okay, so today's AI, it's amazing at finding patterns in like mountains of data, right? But it doesn't really think about it the way that we do, right?
That's a good way to put it, yeah. Current systems, they can really struggle with things like abstract concepts, logical leaps. These are things that we often just take for granted. But this is where symbolic AI, that's where it excels. And combining that with the strengths of these neural networks, it's really crucial for AGI to be possible.
This makes me think, if today's AI is like having a million like superpowered calculators, these symbolic neural networks, it's like giving those calculators the ability to actually understand the meaning behind the numbers they're crunching.
Precisely. Yeah, it's about taking that raw computational power to a whole new level of sophistication.
Okay, so that's one piece of the puzzle, but what about these supercomputer networks that you mentioned? Where do they fit into all of this?
Okay, so think of it this way. Training and running these advanced AI systems, it requires immense, and I mean immense computational power. The more complex the task, the more, the more brain power you need, so to
Hmm.
speak. And that's where these decentralized networks come in, where processing power comes from, potentially many computers all over the world. They're key to meeting that demand.
So it's like instead of having one like mega computer, we're talking about tapping into a network of resources to create, it's like this kind of like collective intelligence.
Exactly, yeah. And Goertzel's own project, SingularityNet, it offers a really fascinating glimpse into how this might actually work in practice.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. Tell me more about SingularityNet. What makes it so groundbreaking in the context of, AGI development?
Imagine a global network of computers, thousands, maybe even millions of them, all working together to power and develop AGI. That's essentially what SingularityNet is. That's what it aims to create.
It's like a global brain with each computer acting as a like a neuron, all contributing to this greater whole.
Yeah, that's a very apt analogy. This approach, what it allows for is incredibly efficient data use,
Mm.
and it allows the system to learn continuously. Plus, with its, decentralized nature, there's no single point of failure.
That's huge. So no more of this one server crashes and the whole thing goes down
Yeah.
scenario.
And they've also implemented a really innovative tokenized access system.
Okay, hold on. Break that down for me for a second. We're talking tokens like arcade game tokens.
Think of it as uh, you're essentially renting processing power from this vast network by using these tokens.
Wow, so it's like a global collaborative supercomputer that anyone could potentially like tap into.
Precisely. It democratizes access to this incredibly powerful technology and really opens doors for all sorts of innovation.
Okay, so we're talking about some seriously powerful tools here, all potentially coming together and sooner than any of us might have thought. But this can't just be about, cool tech, right? There have to be bigger implications to all of this.
Absolutely. The potential benefits of superintelligence, they're enormous, but so are the risks. In
No.
ethical considerations, that's something that we definitely need to delve into a little bit more.
Right, because we're not just talking about like faster phones here. We're talking about potentially reshaping, I mean like fundamentally reshaping the world as we know it. So let's dive into all of that right after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. All right, so we've laid out some pretty mind-bending concepts here. Symbolic AI, these global supercomputer networks, the potential for AGI, and potentially way sooner than any of us might have imagined. But let's talk about what this actually means,
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
these technologies this powerful, they always come with, with immense promise, but also some significant risks as well. Right, and I'd be lying if I said that those what if scenarios haven't been like swirling around in my head all day. So let's unpack that a bit. What are we talking about here? What's like the best case scenario, and then what's the concerning side of this potential future?
Okay, so imagine a world where AGI helps us solve some of the biggest challenges that we face as a species, right? I'm talking, cracking the code on things like Alzheimer's, figuring out clean energy production, maybe even reversing climate change. These are the sorts of challenges that AGI could potentially tackle, and with an efficiency and on a scale that we can't even fathom right now.
Okay, see, those are the headlines I want to be reading. But how realistic is that? I mean, it's easy to get, swept up in the hype, but is there really that potential there for AGI to solve these massive problems?
It's not just hype. I mean, you think that AGI could, just the sheer amount of data that it could analyze. For example, let's say astronomical data sets. It could spot patterns that we would miss, and it can model solutions on a scale that would take us, lifetimes. It's really quite incredible.
It's pretty mind-blowing to think about, especially for issues like climate change, where, I mean, let's face it, we need those solutions like yesterday, but and you knew this was coming. What about the other side of that coin?
Right. Yeah. And it is absolutely crucial to acknowledge the risks that come with all of this. I think one of the biggest concerns with a superintelligence is control.
Yeah.
Right. If we create something that is demonstrably smarter than us, how do we then ensure that its goals, its values, that it aligns with our values, with humanity's best interests? How do we make sure that those things don't become misaligned?
Right, because it's one thing to have AI helping us to solve problems, but it's quite another if in the process we lose sight of what those problems even are, or even worse, if the solutions that it comes up with end up creating a whole bunch of new issues that we didn't anticipate.
Precisely, and Texto Pagado doesn't shy away from these tough questions. Even, it delves into the debate surrounding existential risk.
So let's talk about that for a second. We're talking about potentially AI posing an actual threat to humanity itself, right?
It's definitely a topic that sparks a lot of debate, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
And while I think it's important to not get too bogged down in these sort of doomsday scenarios, it's equally important that we proceed with caution, with foresight. The development of AGI requires careful consideration. It's not just about a mad dash for the finish line.
So what's being done? I mean, are there any like safeguards in place to try to prevent these potential risks from actually becoming a reality?
Yeah, there are a lot of ongoing discussions happening right now, both both nationally and internationally about the ethical development and regulation of AI. Figures like Sam Altman, for example, he's been very vocal about the need for more international cooperation on this front.
So like a United Nations for AI, like establishing some ground rules to try to make sure that this technology is used responsibly.
Exactly. Yeah, it's about creating a global framework for development that prioritizes safety,
Hmm.
that prioritizes ethics, and that ultimately aligns with human values. Right. This isn't just a technology issue. This is a global issue, and it demands collaboration. It demands a shared vision for the future.
This is a lot to take in. And
Yeah.
honestly, I'm not gonna lie, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. Are there more, I don't know, are there more like optimistic viewpoints out there?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Goertzel himself, he envisions AGI not as this inherent threat, but as a powerful tool, a tool for amplifying human capabilities.
Yeah.
It's about thinking of it as a collaboration as opposed to competition.
Now that I like the sound of humans and machines working together to tackle these challenges and build a better future. It's not about, us versus them. It's about harnessing this incredible power for good.
Precisely, yeah. Imagine human ingenuity, right?
Yeah.
But coupled with the problem solving capabilities of AGI, it's a future where we can achieve things that just seem impossible today. But it does raise a pretty crucial question. How do we prepare for this potential future?
Right, because we've got this potential turning point on the horizon. Maybe as close as 2027. Texto Pagano lays out, a lot of the tech side of things.
Yeah.
But does it offer any guidance on how we as individuals can even begin to wrap our heads around all of this and prepare for a potential future with AGI?
Yeah, it definitely emphasizes that this is not a passive waiting game.
Yeah.
The choices that we make today, those choices are going to shape how this technology develops and ultimately how it impacts our world.
Okay, so no more like hiding under the covers until 2028 then, right? What can we do? It feels so huge. It's like where do you even begin?
Well, I think the first step is actually pretty simple. It's stay informed. The more we understand about AGI, the more we can engage in a meaningful dialogue about it, the more we can advocate for its responsible development, and frankly, the more we can actually make informed decisions about our own lives and how this technology might impact us.
Right, knowledge is power.
Mm.
But it's more than just understanding the tech itself, right? It's
Yeah.
it's about those bigger ethical questions that we were talking about, the potential consequences and what kind of future we as humans, as a species, as a planet, what kind of future do we actually want to create?
Exactly. This isn't just an academic exercise. This is about shaping the future, and that future, whether we like it or not, is going to be intertwined with AGI in ways that we can't even. I don't think we can even fully grasp yet.
It's both exhilarating and a little bit terrifying all at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like standing on the edge of something completely unknown.
It is. But if Texto Pagano has taught me anything, it's that this isn't about passively waiting to see what happens. It's about approaching this new era, this new frontier
Hmm.
with a mix of cautious optimism, but also a very clear-eyed awareness of the risks, and most importantly, with a commitment to shaping this technology for the benefit of all humankind.
I love that cautious optimism. It's like holding both the potential and the responsibility all in mind at the same time. This has been quite the deep dive. And I'm not gonna lie, I for one am walking away with a lot more questions than I started with. But that feels like a good thing, doesn't it?
Absolutely, because
Oh.
because questions lead to curiosity,
Yeah.
and curiosity, as they say, is the engine of progress.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's been a real pleasure exploring this with you, and a huge thank you to all of our listeners for joining us on this journey into the world of superintelligence. Now we want to leave you with one final thought to ponder. If Goertzel's prediction comes true and AGI does arrive by 2027, what would you want to see it achieve? What problem would you task it with solving first? Let us know. And as always, thanks for taking this deep dive with us. And we are back for the final part of our deep dive into this whole world of superintelligence. We've covered a lot, from what AGI actually even is to the potential upsides, and then of course those really big, I mean, honestly kind of scary ethical questions that inevitably come up when you're talking about technology this powerful.
Yeah, it's a lot to process. There's no doubt about it. And while look, we don't have all the answers. I don't think anyone does at this point. But what is clear from reading Texto Pagado is that this isn't something that's just going to happen to us. This is something that is being actively shaped right now by the choices that we're making.
Okay, so no more bystander effect for us, right? We gotta be in the game. But that's what I keep grappling with. It feels so huge. Like where do you even begin to even try to have some kind of positive impact?
You're right. It's not about any one person single-handedly solving AGI or anything like that. It's more about, I think, shifting our mindset,
Hmm.
shifting it from this kind of passive observation to a place of more active participation.
Yeah.
And that all starts with awareness.
Yeah.
Your awareness, my awareness, everyone's.
Right, like we were saying, knowledge is power. The more people who understand these really complex issues surrounding AGI, the better equipped all of us are to have those really important conversations about its development and its potential impact, for better for worse.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where things get really, I think, really interesting and exciting, because it's not just about understanding the technical nuts and bolts.
Hmm?
Though, I mean, don't get me wrong, that's important too. It's about really engaging with those bigger ethical questions, the potential societal impacts.
Yeah.
What kind of future do we actually want to create with this technology?
It's almost like we're building the rule book for something that has the potential to, I mean, to completely reshape the world, but we're writing that rule book like in real time,
Right. No
pressure, right?
And that's exactly why it's so crucial that everyone is involved in this rulebook writing process.
Yeah.
Because the values that we embed in AGI today, those values are going to have, I mean, they're going to have a ripple effect for generations to come.
So how do we do that? Besides, obviously staying informed, are there actual concrete actions that people like me and you, that we can take? It still feels so big picture.
It is big picture, but that doesn't mean that our individual actions are meaningless. Not at all.
Yeah.
Support the organizations that are out there doing research into responsible AI
Yeah.
development. Engage with your policymakers. Make your voice heard on these issues.
Yeah.
Talk to your friends and family about this stuff. Like, make it a topic of conversation. Don't let it just be another headline that washes over you and then you forget about it.
That's a really good point. It's easy to get caught up in the doom or utopia headlines, but those conversations, those real down to earth conversations about the ethics of all of this, about what we value as a society, as human beings, those are all things that we can start talking about right now with anyone.
Exactly, because this isn't just some academic exercise. This is about shaping the future.
Yeah.
And that future, whether we like it or not, it's going to be intertwined with AGI in ways that
Yeah.
that I don't think we can even fully grasp yet.
It's both exhilarating and more than a little bit terrifying all at the same time, right? Like standing on the edge of something totally unknown.
It really is. But if Texto Pagado has taught me anything, it's that this isn't about passively waiting to see what happens. It's about approaching this new era, this new frontier with a mix of cautious optimism, a real clear-eyed awareness of the risks involved, and most importantly with a commitment to really trying to shape this technology for the benefit of all humankind.
I love that cautious optimism. It's like holding the potential and the responsibility all in mind at the same time. This has been quite the deep dive, and I got to say, I am walking away with a lot more questions than I came with. But that feels like a good thing, doesn't it?
It absolutely does, because questions lead to curiosity, and curiosity is the engine of progress.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It has been an absolute pleasure exploring this with you, and a huge thank you to all of our listeners out there for joining us on this journey into the world of superintelligence. And with that, we're going to wrap things up for today. So until next time, thanks for taking this deep dive with us.